Hey, hello, 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 hello. Thanks for joining. Happy New Week. Happy Monday. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend and ready to get this week kicked off as you only know how to do. All right, listen. We have a really good conversation today, and like I said, like I always say, I know I say that all the time, but listen, I think this one is going to make some of you go, I always want to get you thinking about things a little bit differently. So let's get into it. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to Nick at Noon. Listen, if you are new here, my name is Nick Scott. I am the founder and CEO of Her Income Edit. We are an online education platform designed to help women turn their skills into coaching income, digital products, and online businesses so you can earn more, so you can depend less on traditional employment, and so you can design a life on your terms. If you have not already, if you are new, you probably don't know this. If you've been rocking me for a while, you probably know this. But if you haven't already, go get your notebook and your pen or whatever it is that you take notes on. I want you to share the link to this video in the group chat. I want you to text the link to this video to your biz bestie because we are about to get into it. We are about to get into it. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. So here's the thing. We need to talk about something that I think about literally almost every day. And it's something that I watch so many women navigate in real time inside my programs, inside my community. And honestly, I see them navigate this inside their own heads. And what I'm talking about is this: your job is not your career anymore. Your job is not your career anymore. Now, listen, before you click off this video, before you close the tab on your browser, I want you to stay with me because I'm not here to scare you. I'm not here to tell you to quit anything either. I am here to ask you a question that I wish someone had asked me a long, long time ago. And that question is, what is your job actually protecting you from? What is your job actually protecting you from? Because if you're like me, you were probably taught from the time that you were old enough to even understand what money was, that the goal was to get a good job, right? A stable job, a job with benefits, a job at a company that would take care of you. And for a long time, y'all, that model worked. Like that plan, that roadmap, for a long time, that worked. So, you know what? We show up, we stay loyal, and for a long time, your job stayed loyal back. But listen, we are not living in that economy anymore. That economy is gone, long gone. We are living in an economy where layoffs are happening on a random Wednesday morning with a calendar invite from an executive that you've never met. I mean, fortunately for my layoff, I had actually met the executive. But for a lot of us, we don't even have a direct tie or a direct connection to these executives that are laying us off. We are living in an economy where a company can post record profits in Q3 and then eliminate 3,000 jobs by the end of Q4. We're living in an economy, y'all, where your performance review can be glowing and your position can still be eliminated because a spreadsheet in a boardroom said so. And I want you to think about these last 18 months. I want you to think about your specific industry. I want you to think about your LinkedIn feed. I want you to think about the people you know. These people who are smart, capable, and credentialed, but they still got caught off guard, right? I'm talking about people who had one source of income, one plan, and one line of financial defense. And when that line got hit, everything in their lives shook. Because here's what nobody tells you when they're coaching you on, when they're mentoring you on career development. And that is, your career is not building financial safety. It's not building your financial safety. Your employer and your career is building their, like this, there's no reciprocity in this anymore. And your salary is the cost of your compliance, not the ceiling of your value. I want you to really think about that for a second. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. I want you to think about that for a second. Your salary is the cost of your compliance, not the ceiling of your value. Your salary is the cost of your compliance, not the ceiling of your value. Now, I know that is hitting just a little bit different depending upon where you are right now, right? Because if you love your job, I think that's amazing, because guess what? I love my job too. And if you love your job, I want you to keep it. I want you to enjoy it. I want you to grow in it. I want you to capitalize on it. I want you to leverage it. If your job is fine and it pays the bills, that is valid too. And if you're counting down the minutes to freedom, I see you. I see you, girl. But the thing is, in any of those scenarios that I just described, the question isn't whether or not your job is good, or whether you love your job, or whether you're counting down the minutes until freedom. The question is, what is your backup plan when this job doesn't want you back, when it doesn't have your back? So I had a client who was a healthcare administrator. She worked 15 years at her organization. She never had a bad review. She always exceeded her targets. And she called me on a Thursday afternoon and she said, Nick, I just got pulled into a meeting. I have 2 weeks. That was kind of them to give her 2 weeks. They don't even give you 2 weeks. But this woman, 15 years, and then they gave her 2 weeks. See, the thing about the system is it's almost like a control mechanism, right? And all the power is in the employer's hands. And the thing about this specific situation, what broke her heart the most, it wasn't just the shock of it. It was the realization that she had no idea what to do next. She didn't have another stream of income. She hadn't cultivated her own audience. She hadn't thought about what her skills were worth outside of her employer's payroll system, because she'd been too busy being a great employee to build anything on the side for herself. And I want to be real clear about what I'm saying, because that is not a character flaw. That is not a failure of character. That is a failure of the story that we have all been told. We were told that being a great employee was enough. We were told that loyalty would be rewarded. Listen, we were told to go to the happy hours, to show up at the team building activities, to do all of these off-site forced fun situations, and our loyalty would be rewarded. We were told that showing up and doing the work would protect us. Were we not? Was I the only one that was taught that? Was I the only one that was taught that? If you were taught these things, please drop a number 1 in the chat. But here's the thing about all this new economy that we're in, it doesn't operate on loyalty. It operates on leverage. And the women who have multiple streams of income, they have the leverage. So that is what we are getting into today. We are going to talk about your job and why your job is no longer the most powerful thing in your financial life. We're going to be talking about why your skills are the most powerful financial thing in your life. And we're going to be talking about what it looks like to start building something of your own without burning down what you have now. Okay, so let's get into this for real. So I want to give you a quick snapshot of where we are, because sometimes we talk about the economy like it's this abstract thing, right? Like it's happening somewhere else to somebody else, but it's not. The workforce is restructuring in real time right before our eyes. We have seen waves of layoffs across tech. We've seen them across finance, healthcare, media, education, and government. And the interesting thing about it isn't just the people who are losing their jobs. It's which people are losing their jobs and how fast they're losing their jobs. Roles that seemed untouchable 3 years ago, 6 months ago, they're now being automated, consolidated, or outsourced. Mid-level management positions, I'm talking about the ones that used to be the gold standard of career success. They are literally being restructured out of organizations. And the people that are most vulnerable, they're the ones who've been excellent at their job, but have never thought about what they do without it. Now, here is a perspective that I want to give you, just a different lens for you to look at this through, because I think that what I'm getting ready to say is going to shift a couple things for you. Number one, the new economy didn't break something that was working. I'm going to say that again. This new economy that we're in, it didn't break something that was working. What it did was revealed something that was never as stable as we thought. Listen, y'all. The traditional career path was always a single point of failure. It was always a single point of failure. We just didn't talk about it that way because for a long time, most people didn't fail at it. But a single point of failure is still a single point of failure, whether or not it breaks. Think about it this way. When a company builds its infrastructure, it doesn't use just one server, right? A company doesn't just use one vendor. It doesn't have one power source. It builds redundancy. It builds backup systems. It builds fail-safes. Because whoever designed that company, they knew that one component can go down at any given moment. And so the question is never, will something go wrong? The question is always, when something goes wrong, what catches you? And most of the women that I work with, when they first come to me, they have no redundancy. They have one income, one plan, one stream of revenue that's flowing into their household. One stream of revenue that is holding everything together. One stream of income that is holding up their future, their family, right? And this isn't because they haven't thought about it. Oftentimes it's because nobody handed these women a roadmap for building a second stream of income alongside the first one. We're really good at teaching women how to climb that ladder. We are really good at teaching women how to break through the glass ceiling, right? We are not nearly as good at teaching women how to build their own ladder. We are not that great. We are not that great at that, y'all. And here's the part that makes me so passionate about this work. The skills to build that second ladder, most women already have them. They're sitting in your resume. They're showing up in your daily work. They're in every project you've led, every problem you solved, every time someone came to you for advice because you just know the thing. So the question isn't whether or not you have what it takes. The question has always been, do you know how to package it? Do you know how to position it? Do you know how to get paid for it outside of someone else's payroll system? Because that right there is the mindset shift that we're making today. Hello. Thanks for joining. I see the love on YouTube. Happy Monday. Happy New Week. I see y'all. So let me go somewhere that I think doesn't get talked about enough. Because we spend a lot of time talking about income. But income is, the way that I see it, it's like a downstream of your identity. I mean, I can do a whole episode on money and identity and our relationships with money, but that's not what we're talking about today. But if you want to understand why so many smart, capable, high achieving women stay stuck, even when they know they need more options, you have to understand the career identity trap. And here's what I mean. Most of us, somewhere along the way, let our job title become our entire identity. Have you ever met someone and they introduce themselves to you leading with their job title? We stopped being people who work in education and started being teachers. We stopped being people who practice nursing and just started being nurses, period. We stopped being people who manage operations and started calling ourselves and literally verbalizing a self-fulfilling prophecy over ourselves as the ops person. I'm the ops person. And when that happens, when your job becomes who you are and not just what you do, any threat to your job, it feels like it's a threat to you personally. And that's why layoffs feel so personal, even when they're not. Listen, when I got laid off in March of 2026, earlier this year, when I got laid off, I didn't take it personally, y'all. But several members of my team who got laid off, they took it so very personally. It was not personal. Listen, this is why the thought of doing something outside of your industry, it feels so disorienting, even when you're talented enough to do a dozen other things. That is why women sit on their potential for years. It isn't because they don't believe in themselves. It's because they built their entire self-concept around a role that belongs to someone else. They've built their entire identity around a role that belongs to someone else. Your employer gave you a title. They did not give you your skills. Your employer, it gives you a salary. It does not give you your intelligence. Your job gave you a description. They didn't give you your judgment. And judgment, intelligence, and deep professional skills, those travel with you. They belong to you and they don't disappear when the org chart changes. The women who are thriving in this new economy, they've done something very, very important. They have separated their identity from their employer and then they attached it to their capability. They don't say, I'm a project manager at XYZ Corporation. These women say, I am someone who builds structure out of chaos. I am someone who moves teams from stuck to shipped. I am someone who knows how to manage complexity. And I do that for this company right now, but I could do it for anyone, including myself. You see the difference there? Because that right there can change everything for you. Because when you know what you actually do versus what your job calls what you do, you can see your income potential that was there all along. You can see the income potential that was there all along. There's a woman in my community who spent 12 years in corporate training and development. So she designed programs, she onboarded people, she built the systems that made organizations function. And when she first came to me, she said, I'm just in L&D. That's not exciting. Just in L&D? She had spent over 10 years teaching people how to do their jobs better, designing curriculum, coaching performance, and she had no idea that those skills translated directly into coaching and consulting. That, what she called just training people, was a highly marketable, highly scalable offer that companies and individuals would pay a premium for, y'all. She didn't just have a skills gap, she had a perception gap. And closing that gap, seeing your skills for what they're worth, not just what your W-2 says they're worth, okay? That right there is one of the most powerful things you can do for your financial future. for your future, for your family, for yourself, for your legacy. So let me ask you something, and I really want you to think about this. If you're taking notes, jot it down in your notebook or whatever it is you're taking notes on. That question is, what would you say your job title is? Like right now, what do you do? What problems do you solve? What do people come to you for? What breaks when you're on vacation? Listen, have you ever experienced going on vacation from work for a week or two, and then you come back and they're like, oh my gosh, never go on vacation again? That literally were words that one of my teammates told me in October of 2025, right before I got laid off. Oh my gosh, please don't go on vacation ever again. What do your colleagues ask you to fix, to explain, to review? Listen, that list, that is your real portfolio. And your real portfolio is almost always worth more than what your current salary says it is. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. Okay, so let's talk about some options here, okay? Because I know some of you are probably nodding along and you're thinking, you know what? I get it, Nick. I need more income, but what does that even look like for me? I'm glad you're here because I want to introduce you to a path that I think is dramatically underestimated by so many professional women, and that path is called coaching. Now, before your brain goes to this default image of what a coach is, like the life coach on Instagram with motivational quotes, I want you to stay with me because the coaching industry is huge. It is enormous and it is growing, but the version I'm talking about isn't a generic motivation. It is a skills-based coaching business. It's you. What I'm talking about is you. With your specific background, your decades of experience, your hard-won knowledge, it is you helping other people navigate exactly what you've already figured out. Here's the thing about it. Coaching is not about knowing everything. It is about knowing what took your client 3 years of trial and error to figure out on their own. And it's helping them do it in a fraction of that time. So your shortcut is literally someone else's solution, and people pay a premium for solutions. Here is a framework that I want you to think about. So there are 2 types of value in the world, okay? And if you're taking notes, I want you to write 2 types of value and then draw a line down the center of your paper. Put a number 1 on one side and a number 2 on the other side. Okay? So the first type of value is execution value. And that is what you produce when you show up and do the work. What you produce when you show up and do the work, execution value. Your employer buys your execution value. They pay you for your time. They pay you for your output. They pay you for your deliverables, right? That is execution value. And that is what your employer is buying from you. The second type of value is transformation value. So this is the value of taking someone from where they are to where they want to be. Transformation value is taking someone from where they are to where they want to be. So this is coaches, consultants, and other experts and educators. They sell transformation value. And transformation value, it is not capped by hours. It's not capped by your salary band. It is not capped by your performance review cycle. It is priced based on the outcome. Okay? So here's an example. When a healthcare administrator with 15 years of experience helps a new administrator avoid a $200,000 compliance mistake, what is that coaching worth? What do you think that coaching is worth? When a marketing leader with a decade of digital experience helps a small business owner finally figure out their content strategy, what is that consulting worth? When a teacher who's mastered differentiated instruction helps 10 other teachers do the same thing, what is that training program worth? Because the answer, it is significantly more than most women charge when they're just starting out. But here's the point. The point that I'm trying to make is what I'm talking about, coaching, it is possible, it is accessible, and it is the vehicle that already exists within you. And I want to be very clear and, just kind of tread lightly here, because I'm not telling you that coaching is magic. I'm not telling you that it's passive income from day one. I'm not telling you to walk into your boss's office tomorrow and resign. That's not what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you is this. I'm telling you that coaching is one of the most accessible paths to a second stream of income for women, because the primary ingredient is something that you already have. It is your knowledge. It is your experience. It is your story. It is your skills. You don't need to go back to school. You don't need to invent a product. You don't need a manufacturing deal or venture capital. You don't need to go to China to go look at bundles to sell hair online. You need to know something that someone else wants to learn. And if you've spent years building a career, regardless of what field you're in, you know something. You know a lot of somethings, as a matter of fact. And I want to give you a different way of looking at your experience, because most women think their career, they look at their career and they think of their career as a timeline. What are you doing? They look at their career as a timeline, a series of jobs, titles, and accomplishments that are stacked on a resume, right? But here's the thing. I see your career as a curriculum. Every role that you've held, it has given you a lesson. Every challenge you've navigated has given you a case study. Every skill that you've developed, it is a module in a course that someone would pay a what? A premium to take that course. So your career isn't behind you. It's the foundation of what you're going to build next. And when you see it that way, when you stop thinking of your experience as the thing that qualified you for your last job and started seeing it as the thing that qualifies you to lead others, to serve others, to help others, the whole landscape opens up, y'all. I have watched teachers become educational consultants. I have watched nurses become wellness coaches. I have watched project managers launch operational consulting businesses. I have watched corporate trainers build 7-figure coaching practices, 7-figure coaching businesses. In every single one of those cases, they didn't have to learn a new skill. They learned a new way to package the skills that they already had. And that packaging is what we do inside of my program called Ignite. But I'm going to come back to that, because right now I want to keep building the case for what I'm talking about. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. So I want to take a minute just to talk about something else here, because multiple streams of income has become one of those phrases that gets thrown around so much that it's almost lost its meaning. People are hearing multiple streams of income and then they immediately think, what are you doing? Do y'all see her? Y'all can't see her. She is. What are you doing? So when people hear it, we're going to focus. When people hear it, they immediately think of drop shipping, affiliate marketing, rental properties, stock portfolios, and side hustles, right? And some of those things are great, but some of them aren't for everybody. And here's the perspective that I want to offer you. Multiple streams of income isn't a wealth strategy first. So at first, multiple streams of income cannot be about building wealth. Because if you go into it thinking about it as a wealth strategy, you're going to get discouraged and you're probably going to quit. Multiple streams of income is a safety strategy first. So we tend to talk about multiple streams like they're a luxury for people who've already made it, right? Like it's something that you get to build after you're financially stable. And we don't really talk about it in the sense that this is something that we build to become financially stable. And that thought process, it has kept a lot of women from starting because they're thinking, you know what? I will figure this out when I have more time, more money, and more stability. But the stability that you're trying to build, you can't wait for it to show up before you start building it. So the last company that I worked for was an insurance company. And so I want to use insurance as an example here. You don't wait until after you get into a car accident to get car insurance, right? You don't wait until you're sick to start considering health coverage, do you? You get these things before you need it. You build the protection while things are good, while things are fine, while your car is brand new, while your health is pristine, so that when things aren't fine, you have a cushion. So when you get into that car accident, you have something. When you have to go to the doctor, you have something. And a second stream of income is the financial equivalent of insurance. We're talking about diversifying your income. We're talking about income diversification here. This is not a backup plan in the negative sense. It's a backup plan in the responsible, strategic, grown woman sense. And here's what changes when you have it. You stop tolerating things at your job that you shouldn't tolerate because your entire financial survival isn't contingent on staying silent anymore. You have options about how you respond to a bad manager. You have options about how you respond to an unfair promotion decision. You have options on how to respond to a lateral move that is disguised as an opportunity. Listen, I have spent years in corporate. Listen, I know I'm probably stepping on some people's toes, and I'm sorry. Pick up your feet. As my pastor used to say, pick up your feet because I'm coming down your lane. When you have income diversification, you literally can advocate for yourself. You can take up more space because you're not negotiating from desperation anymore. Options create power. Not options as in passive aggressive leverage, okay? I'm not saying go be passive aggressive up in these spaces. You still need to be a professional. But it is options as in true freedom of choice. And for women in the workforce, that kind of freedom has historically been hard to come by for you. And I want you to think about the most confident women that you know in professional settings. Think about her. Just close your eyes and imagine who she is. I have somebody in my mind right now. And I'd be willing to bet that this woman that you're thinking about has income coming from more than one place, or she's building toward having income that comes from more than one place, or she got a skill set so transferable she knows that she could replace her income tomorrow. And that confidence isn't just her personality, it's her positioning. She is not more capable than you. She just knows her value is not contingent on one organization's budget cycle. And that right there is what we're building. We are not just building income. We are building positioning. And that kind of positioning, the kind that changes how you walk into a room, how you negotiate, and how you respond to uncertainty, because uncertainty loses its grip on you when you know you have more than one plan. Period. So, hello. Thanks for joining. So I've been laying out the full picture in this conversation, okay? And I just want to start to connect some of these dots because everything that I've talked about today, it all points to one thing. And you probably already know you need to build something on your own. I hope that's what you have gotten out of today's conversation. But the thing about it is, you've known that for a while. Like what, Mo? You've known it for a while. Um, you've been thinking about it for a while. Maybe you've even started to do something a little bit, right? Like you've had an idea, you've watched other coaches or consultants, and you thought, you know what, I can do that. You've looked at your experience and you thought, you know what, someone would pay me for this. But then the how to do this, like you know what you need to do, but you don't really know how to do it. So you stop. You start asking yourself, well, how do I package it? How do I price it? How do I find clients? How do I do this while I'm still working a full-time job along my full life? How do I do this without feeling like this is a whole second job, right? And honestly, those are the right questions. And lucky for you, they have answers. That is exactly what Ignite is for. Ignite is my 12-week group coaching program for professional women who are ready to build their first or next stream of income from the skills that they already have. This isn't a course that you sit through and hope for the best. This is a hands-on, structured coaching intensive experience where we do the work together. We will figure out your offer. We will build your positioning. We get you moving toward income, not one of these days, right? We get you moving towards income with a plan, and we do it with a real timeline. Applications for the next cohort are open right now, and I want to be very transparent with you. Ignite is not for everybody. It is not for Lottie Dottie and everybody. It is for you if you're serious. If you're ready to stop just sitting on what you know, if you're done waiting for the quote unquote right time, if you understand that the right time is never coming to find you, this is for you. If that is you, I want you to drop the word apply in the chat if you're watching live. Drop the word apply in the comments if you're watching the replay. And I will make sure that you get all the details on how to apply for Ignite. Or if you're compelled to, you can go straight to my website at herincomeedit.com/ignite. The link is also in the description and you can read everything there. The details, the investment, how to apply, what to expect, all the things, okay? So go check it out. Hopefully I see your application come through because this is serious business. Like the time is now. Here's the thing about all of this though. I said that we would talk about the what and not necessarily the how, right? But there is a version of what that helps you see the path a whole lot more clearly. So let me walk you through 4 things. When to start building a second income stream. When should you start building your second stream of income alongside your 9 to 5? It is not when you have more time. It is not when the kids are older. It is not when you feel more ready. You start when the cost of waiting outweighs the discomfort of starting. And for most women that I work with, they realize somewhere in a conversation with me that they've already crossed that threshold. The cost of staying stuck is already higher than the risk of starting. So, where do you start? You don't start with an LLC. You don't start with the logo. You don't start with the website. You start with clarity. So, answer questions like, or ask yourself questions like, what do you know that someone else needs to know? What problems do you solve without thinking about it? What would your colleagues, your friends, your network, your family, what would they pay you to help them with? That right there is where you start, okay? So why does this work even for women who have never sold a single thing? It's because you're not selling a product, you're selling transformation. And transformation isn't hard to sell when the person in front of you is desperate for a way out of the problem that you've already solved. Your story is your sales pitch. Your skills are your credibility. Your results even internal, and even if you haven't gotten paid for them, that right there is your proof of concept. Why does this work for professional women? Because you are underestimating yourselves at scale, okay? We have been taught to position ourselves for our jobs. We have mastered the art of the resume, the interview, and a performance review. We know how to make someone else see our value in their context, but we haven't been taught how to articulate our value in our own context. And that right there is a trainable skill. And once you have it, it changes the trajectory of your income for the rest of your career, for the rest of your life, actually. And I want you to think about something for a second. If you were 5 years out, okay, so if we're sitting in 5 years from now, what is that, 2031? And you look back at this moment, what would you want to have started right now, 5 years from now? Not what would have been perfect or what would have been risk-free. What would you have want to have started? Because here's the thing. In 5 years, this economy is not going to be more stable. We're not going back to the good old days on this one. The workforce isn't going to be more predictable. The case for building your own stream of income is only going to get stronger. So, I'm asking whether or not future you is 5 years into building this thing, or is she 5 years into wishing she'd started 5 years ago? 5 years are going to pass. We have been taught that safety comes from security. We have been taught that that safety comes from a guaranteed paycheck, from a long-term contract, from a company that says, we need you. But that is not safety. That is dependency. But it's disguised itself as stability. We think it's stability. It's tricked us into thinking that dependency is stability. Safety is real safety is knowing that your income doesn't live or die based on one person's budget approval. Safety is having a skill set that pays you in more than one place. You can get paid in more than one place, y'all. Safety is walking into your next performance review knowing that your financial future does not hinge on whatever your manager has to say next. That right there is what we build at Her Income Edit. That is what the work that we do is all about. It is not just about income. This is about options. This is about freedom. This is about becoming less dependent on traditional employment. This is about sovereignty. Your job, I said this at the beginning, your job is not your career anymore. And the sooner that we all start to accept that, the sooner that you can build something that nobody can take from you on a random Wednesday morning. Because you can be great at your job and still build something of your own. It's not an either or. I'm not asking you to make that choice, right? It's not, do I choose between my job and I choose between building this coaching business? You can be loyal to your job and still be loyal to your future. Both and. You can love where you are right now and still refuse to let it be the only place that you're building. Both and. Your job pays the bills. Keep it. Bills need to be paid. But your business, it builds your life. And you are more than qualified to do both. So if you're ready, if something in today's conversation lit something up in you, I want you to allow that to be your signal. Not a sign. You don't need a sign from the heavens and the universe. You don't need the perfect moment. I want you to let that be a sign and a signal that you already know what you need to do next. Applications for Ignite are open. The link is down in the description. You can go to my website at herincomeedit.com/ignite. You can drop the word apply in the comments and I will make sure you get the details. And I want to just take a moment to thank everyone who has popped in and out of today's conversation. I see you. I see the love. I feel your energy. I appreciate you. I want to thank each and every one of you for investing, even if it was just a little bit of time in this conversation. And hear me when I say this. If this hit different, I want you to get the link to this video and I want you to send this video to a friend. Because somewhere in your network, somewhere in your circle, there is a woman who is sitting on a skill that could change her life. She just needs someone to tell her that it's possible. And I want you to be that for your friend, okay? Your income doesn't have to outlive your employer's interest in you. Your income doesn't have to do that, okay? I want you to build something that they can't take from you, all right? Thanks again for popping in and out of today's episode. I really appreciate y'all. Let me know what you thought about it. I hope to see your application come through for Ignite, herincomeedit.com/Ignite. Click the link in the description, drop the word apply down below. 3 different ways for you to get this information here. My name is Nick Scott. This has been another episode of Nick at Noon. I am here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Mountain Time, and I am giving you all things strategy, tools, and mindset to help you build your coaching business, to help you get started in this space so that you can start to build options for yourself, for your family, for your legacy, and your future, so that you can start to rewrite your financial story so you can edit your income and rewrite your life, okay? Thanks so much again for joining, and